So, Bugonia. I just saw this movie, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, though not written by him, and starring Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, Aidan Delbus, who's I think new to acting. So, this is a crazy movie. Um, it takes place in 21st century America, and I think it's the first Yorgos Lanthimos movie with that setting. All of his other movies have taken place in kind of like an alternate universe lobster kind of scenario or like historical Europe is something like The Favorite or Poor Things. Yeah, all of his movies have taken place on the European continent up until now. This is very much an American story, and it's about a factory drone who is very bright, but has gotten sucked into some internet kind of rabbit holes and believes all these things about aliens taking over the planet and believes um, that the CEO of this company, played by Emma Stone, the company that he works for, is evil and is actually an alien and is playing her role in the eventual extermination of human race. As the movie goes on, we learn a lot more about this guy, and some of the most impactful scenes for me were the scenes in which you see what happened to his mother. They're shot in this like black and white. It's like this foundational myth for him. They're given such weight. Like this is the Cain and Abel story or the Noah myth or something. Like these are moments when humanity or this man in particular, who's the only one who this movie can dramatize really, was changed. Like the story of humanity was changed because of what happened to this one man. And it's so riveting and dramatic, stark, like the suffering you see taking place with his mother, the way that that's addressed by corporate America, by this company in particular, which is this kind of trial drug and so on. I think it's a movie that's trying really hard to speak to our time today, and it is very skillfully done. The kind of flawless, optimized, mechanized, kind of lifeless lives of the knowledge class, the kind of um, CEO class, and people who make six figures working for corporations and who live like far outside of away from the riffraff, far outside the city in these like gated homes, and then the working class. And this movie goes really far out of its way to kind of portray quote unquote white trash, which is a phrase I don't like in general, but that's what these two cousins are. Like they're very um, like ill-mannered, and again, one is very bright, and the other seems to have maybe like a mental deficiency, certainly autistic, very slow, very poorly socially adjusted. One of these characters, played by Aidan Delby, and so it's a bit of an exaggeration there. And then the corporate world is also a little bit of an exaggeration. The Emma Stone character, but not really. I mean, there are lots of people who talk like this, behave like this, and who say nothing interesting. Who just say things like, "We understand your concerns. We have a team that's working on it. Let's have a dialogue about this." This kind of like cold but faux understanding, pacifying, smothering corporate speak that's very much like mocked in this movie, and I appreciated that. So there's a lot in this movie that really worked for me, especially in the first half. In the second half, and this is not a spoiler review, I'll do another video spoiling the movie and talking about what this movie's trying to say politically once you get to the end. By the second half of this movie, I was pretty fed up with it, and one of the reasons is it's just so anti-humanist. Um, this isn't really spoiling anything, but the movie kind of takes the position, whether or not the movie kills off the human race, I won't spoil, but the movie takes the position that humans kind of deserve to die, right? And there's this whole ongoing kind of narrative of the bees who are being killed off by human activity, by pesticides, by um, changing habitat due to human behavior. There's colony collapse disorder, and the bees are like this perfect species of regenerative animal, and they're so kind of tender, and they serve their queen so well. and they make the sweetest product, honey, like that's what they excrete, and we are just these big apes, disgusting, and so on. And the movie really, I mean, some of the characters in the movie have that point of view. I think the movie really endorses that by the end, and there's just something in me that doesn't like that. Like the anti-humanist quality in this movie is disturbing to me personally. I know a lot of people will say like that's great, I love that. Not for me. I wasn't. I didn't enjoy that, and yeah, the movie felt pretty nihilistic by the end. Um, Again, I'll get into spoilers in another video. I would definitely recommend seeing this movie. I think it bites off kind of less than it can chew in the sense that it doesn't address who most people really are. It takes these kind of corner cases and says like, well, one's this like manufactured crazy species that we have in American capitalism today, and the other is this kind of sad conspiratorial person who you can pity because of what happened to his family in the past, but who's just, useless, and he and the rest of humanity should be put out of their misery, and they're killing the bees even if they pretend to be environmental activists. Like everything they do, the electricity they use and everything they do is killing the bees, who are a more perfect and kind of regenerative and ecologically sustainable species. The fact that that's kind of the message of this movie really turned me off. So, I don't tend to like I don't even really like Fight Club. I don't like, 12 Monkeys is a movie I like a lot, but there's this whole cult aspect to this movie that reminded me a little bit of those 90s movies. Feels very different tonally, and there's a lot of humor in it, but yeah, not a fan of all that. And so by the end of the movie, I could not endorse it, but I am glad I watched it, and you should see it. Crazy movie.